On October 26th, heaven paused to deliver this directly to you. A breakthrough is coming in 7 minutes. Open now to receive this. October 26th was not just another date etched upon the calendars of men. It was a moment when eternity brushed against time, when the pulse of heaven slowed and all creation held its breath. It was not marked by thunder or trumpet, yet the silence spoke louder than sound itself. The archangels stood still, swords drawn but unmoved. Cherubim hovered mid-flight, wings arrested in sacred anticipation. The river of fire that flows before the throne flickered, not in rage, but in reverence. And in that rare and holy stillness, a scroll was opened, with your name written upon it. Heaven paused because something in the atmosphere shifted, something tied to you. The spiritual realm is not bound by clocks, yet in this case, the divine timetable was interrupted for 7 sacred minutes. Not 6, not 8, 7. The number of completion, the seal of divine fulfillment. This was not coincidence. This was convergence. In those 7 minutes, heaven chose to release a word, a wind, a warning, and a wonder, not for the masses, but for the marked. And you are one of them. This is not a message for the distracted, the double-minded, or the casually curious. No. This is a dispatch for those whose spirits have been trembling with quiet urgency, for those who have felt the invisible tug of something coming but could not name it. This is for the spiritually sensitive, the ones who could feel the tremor before the trumpet. If your soul has been stirring without reason, if your atmosphere has been off, if your dreams have been loud but unclear, then know this: heaven paused because you were remembered. But there is a condition. The heavens may deliver, but the earth must receive. The breakthrough can't be forced. It must be welcomed. You must enter into stillness. You must posture your spirit in obedience. You must stop striving and start receiving. This moment requires reverence. You cannot scroll past it. You must surrender into it. A prophetic hush is blanketing your atmosphere. It's not loud. It's not forceful. It's holy. It whispers, heaven paused because your name was mentioned. That's why your spirit is uneasy. That's why this message found you. Time and eternity have met at a sacred intersection, and your response will determine the unlocking of what's next. This is not a message to save for later. This is a divine moment that will not be repeated. The next 7 minutes are a spiritual womb, and what is conceived in stillness will manifest in power. Heaven's breath is waiting for your yes. The pause has ended. The message is here. Will your spirit answer? Type "I receive this" in the comments if your name was mentioned. Blessing code 777 is now surrounding you. In the next 7 minutes, something unseen is shifting. Something buried beneath layers of delay, resistance, and spiritual confusion is beginning to rise to the surface. And it is not rising by accident. It is rising because heaven spoke. It is rising because your name was summoned. A divine transaction is underway, not in the courts of man, but in the chambers of the Almighty. Hear this now, beloved. Not all time is equal, and not every moment carries weight. But this moment, this sacred 7-minute window, has been sealed in eternity. The atmosphere has begun to echo with the vibrations of angelic activity. I, Archangel Michael, am permitted to speak what was concealed, to reveal what was written. You did not stumble across this message. No, it was delivered to you, divinely timed, precisely measured, supernaturally sent. Heaven interrupted its own rhythm to release this message into your atmosphere. The scrolls were paused. The flames held still. The cherubim stopped singing. And the Father leaned forward to observe. Who will listen? Who will hear? Who will receive? This is not coincidence. This is command. This is divine announcement wrapped in urgency. This is your spirit's wake-up call. Some of you feel it already, the goosebumps, the tingling at the back of your neck, the trembling in your chest. That's not adrenaline. That's confirmation. Your spirit knows this is real. You were not chosen by popularity. You were not selected by performance. You were marked by purpose. And now, the hourglass of heaven is upside down. The sands are falling. The 7-minute window is not symbolic only, it is prophetic countdown. From the moment you began reading, your spirit entered a divine negotiation, and the outcome will be decided by your posture of obedience. Let every distraction be silenced now. Let every voice competing for your attention be dismissed. Do not look left or right. Look within. Because the next few moments are not casual, they are covenantal. You are being invited into a divine exchange that can only happen when the noise fades and the truth speaks. I invoke now the Spirit of truth, not the truth of man, but the truth that existed before time began. The truth that stood beside the Father when the earth was formed. The truth that rides on wings of fire and carries the voice of God through dimensions. That truth is standing beside you now, waiting, watching, whispering, be still and listen. Only the awakened will understand this. Only those whose spirits have been crying silently in the night, whose minds have been under siege, whose hearts have been aching without cause, only those will feel this word surge like lightning through their being. It is not for everyone. It is for the remnant. It is for the set apart. It is for the broken but called. And it is for you. Heaven's timeline does not move by man's permission. It moves by obedience. In the next 7 minutes, your spirit will either align or retreat. Your atmosphere will either shift or stay stagnant. But for those who say yes, for those who lean in, for those who surrender, the unseen world will start to respond in visible ways. You will feel it. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now. The next 7 minutes are a spiritual ignition. The fire has already been lit. Your spirit is already heating. Your breakthrough is not waiting on heaven. It's waiting on you. And so I say to you, prepare. Listen. Receive. Heaven has already answered. In 7 minutes, your atmosphere will answer back. Type I am ready in the comments if you hear this word. Lesson code 444 has now been unlocked over you. Lately your spirit has been restless, and you don't know why. You've tried to name it, but the words escape you. You felt off, not in body, not in mind, but in the depths of your soul. You've been waking up at strange hours. You felt sudden waves of emotion with no clear trigger. You sensed eyes on you when no one was there. You've questioned your path, doubted your progress, even wondered if you're somehow under spiritual attack. And let me tell you, you are not crazy. You are not making it up. What you've been feeling is real. It's been warfare but hidden. For weeks now, the atmosphere around you has been stirred, not by what you see, but by what sees you. Unseen watchers, silent saboteurs, the kind of interference that whispers doubt in the middle of your momentum, the kind of resistance that wears the face of someone you love. You've had conversations that left you drained for no reason, relationships that suddenly felt fragile, environments that used to feel like home now feel foreign. That's not coincidence, that's spiritual surveillance. Because your light has flickered in the darkness and the darkness noticed. They saw it. The enemy saw your glow. Hell saw your name glowing in the spirit realm like a torch. You were not hidden. You were targeted. And every confusing conversation, every broken plan, every moment of unexplainable weariness, it was all designed to slow you down, to make you second-guess the oil on your life. But what they didn't know is that their sabotage only proved your significance. Your spirit is not unsettled because something's wrong. It's unsettled because something righteous is on the way. There has been a spiritual trembling around you, and you felt it before it manifested. That's why you couldn't sleep. That's why peace seemed distant. That's why your joy felt suspended, because your spirit already knew the shift was near. It knew something was coming. You felt the tension not of something ending, but of something birthing. Why now? Why this date? Why October 26th? Because heaven finally said, enough. Enough delay. Enough cycles. Enough interference. The very things that were assigned to break you have now been reversed into evidence. Evidence of your resilience. Evidence of your obedience. Evidence of your endurance. And it is that evidence that triggered heaven's pause. So do not fear the pressure. Do not run from the confusion. It's been a spiritual alarm clock, not a curse. It was meant to wake you, not wound you. The enemy overplayed his hand, and now God is overriding the interference. But you must stay aware. You must stay still. You must stay spiritually sensitive in this moment of divine interruption. You are not just reading. You are receiving. And what you are receiving is not a word from man, but a dispatch from eternity. Heaven paused because your name, your warfare, your battle, and your breakthrough have all been aligned in the same moment. And now, listen carefully. If your spirit is stirring right now, it's because heaven is marking this moment as sacred, not just for you, but for every soul this message will reach. When you give into this word, through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the video description, you're not just sowing into a video, you're sowing into deliverance, into revelation, into prophetic clarity. The river of God flows where the people release it. And when you release, God multiplies. The Lord declares in Malachi 3:10, "See if I will not open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing there will not be room enough to store it." That word is alive right now, aimed at you. When I say, now is your moment to respond, it isn't a suggestion, it's a summons. You were brought here to be a light carrier, and your giving activates the fire. Your obedience fans the flame. For those who feel this fire in your spirit, let your giving become prophetic agreement. Let it be your yes to heaven's pause. Type ISOW into this fire in the comments if your giving is your agreement. Lesson code 1414 is now activated over your house. You've been asking yourself, why has this been so hard? Why does it always feel like I'm almost there but never arriving? And I am here to tell you now, what you have been wrestling with was never personal. It wasn't about you as a person. It wasn't about your mistakes. It wasn't about your failures. It was about your purpose. The battle didn't come because of where you've been, it came because of where you're going. The resistance didn't arise from your weakness, it erupted because of the power that's about to emerge through you. This was never just emotional. It was never just circumstantial. This was spiritual conflict masquerading as life problems. And while you were questioning your own worth, heaven was protecting your anointing in silence. You were not being ignored. You were being prepared. The breaking wasn't rejection. A delay wasn't punishment. A betrayal wasn't abandonment. It was all part of the process. What you thought was a grave was actually a garden. What you thought was a fall was really the forge. You were not being discarded, you were being refined in fire. Hear me clearly. The chaos that has circled your life lately, the miscommunications, the heartbreaks, the cycles of almost breaking through but never quite, all of it was carefully permitted, even orchestrated, to awaken the warrior inside of you. Heaven has never been absent. Angels have been posted on every side, recording, watching, guarding, measuring the weight of your tears. Nothing, I say nothing, has gone unnoticed. You keep asking, where was God when they left me? When I cried in silence, when I felt like giving up. And here is the truth. God was closer in your pain than he ever was in your applause. He was silent not because he was absent, but because he was training your hearing. The silence was strategy. The absence of clarity was not chaos. It was calibration. God was teaching you to hear him, not them. He was teaching you to feel faith, not feelings. What felt like isolation was incubation. What looked like delay was divine setup. You've been walking through what I call heaven's classroom. Not hell's punishment, not karma's cruelty. Heaven's classroom. And every lesson, every loss, every locked door, it was all leading you to this moment. October 26. A pause in heaven's order for a person who held on longer than they had strength to. This is not flattery. This is revelation. Your endurance has triggered divine interruption. While others gave up when the heat increased, you stood still when everything screamed for you to run. You stayed when leaving would have been easier. You prayed when cursing felt more honest. You listened when the silence was unbearable. And because of that obedience, your name hath been spoken in the inner chambers of the Most High. You need to understand this. Your pain was not wasted. It was not random. It was prophetic evidence. Every rejection you endured, every night you couldn't sleep, every time you wanted to quit but kept going, it became the language of intercession. It became the incense that filled the throne room of God. And now, that incense has risen. That cry hath been heard, and that storm hath been noted. So when October 26 came, heaven paused, not for pity, but for promotion. Your file was opened. The warfare surrounding you was reviewed. And the command was issued, the time has come. Your storm has a story. Your wounds carry witness. And your scars now speak louder than your enemies. The conflict was never just about you. It was about what was inside of you, about to be released. You were not being buried. You were being positioned. Type I am being positioned in the comments if you're ready for heaven's response. Blessing code 2121 is now surrounding your journey. The silence is almost over, but not because the war has ended. No, it is because the final strike is near. You have entered the final stretch of a spiritual confrontation that has lasted longer than you expected. And now, the realms are trembling. The air is charged. The atmosphere is heavy with the pressure of what's about to be revealed. You can feel it, can't you? A shift, a buildup, a strange, always uncomfortable sense that something unseen is closing in. That is not fear. That is prophetic tension. It means something is about to break open, and the heavens are preparing to move on your behalf. Mark this carefully. We are no longer in the season of waiting. We are in the season of watching. Because within hours, not days, not weeks, hours from now, energy will shift. There will be moments where your body reacts before your mind understands. There will be places you walk into that feel different. There will be people who start to withdraw, not because you failed them, but because the light on you is exposing what's hidden in them. The resistance will start to retreat. The watchers will go silent. The adversary will begin to lose jurisdiction, because heaven is advancing now. Something is about to reveal itself. You will feel it before you see it. You will sense it in a phone call, in an unexpected message, in a sudden opportunity that seems too precise to be random. That is your confirmation. This isn't imagination, it's manifestation. But hear this with all seriousness. If you are not spiritually awake, you may miss what God sends because you were expecting something else. Heaven is moving in subtle power, not loud performance. And only those who are still enough, silent enough, obedient enough will be able to receive the signal. This is the hour when timing becomes everything. You are walking into the space between what was promised and what is about to be presented. The enemy knows he is running out of time. He senses your atmosphere changing, your authority rising, your clarity returning. That is why the warfare has intensified lately, not because you are losing, but because you are getting too close to winning. The closer you get to the gate of breakthrough, the more pressure hell applies to distract and delay. But here is what you must understand. The clock in heaven is ticking, and the command has already been given. Within 72 hours, the first sign of reversal will appear. It may come as a shift in conversation. It may come as a removal of a person who no longer belongs in your journey. It may be a financial release, a healing moment, a door that was sealed now swinging open with no effort. Watch. Wait. Discern. Because when it comes, and it will come, you must respond quickly. Delayed obedience will cost you momentum. The pressure you feel is real. The intensity in the atmosphere is not your imagination. It is the weight of heavenly motion. The clouds are gathering, not for judgment, but for justice. You are standing on the edge of a divine release, and this release will not be delayed again. But do not expect to know everything yet. God is withholding full details not because you're not trusted, but because revelation unfolds by obedience. You don't need to see the whole blueprint. You just need to follow the next instruction. What's coming cannot be stopped. It can only be prepared for. And those who are watching with spiritual eyes will be the first to see the signs appear. The gate is trembling. The oil is heating. The angels are on the move. Now is not the time to run. Now is the time to receive. Type "I am watching" in the comments if your spirit is on alert. Blessing code 3030 is now covering your next 72 hours. Now is not the time to fight in the flesh. Now is not the time to speak too soon, move too quickly, or respond out of fear. The realm you are dealing with does not bow to noise. It bows to obedience. You are not being asked to perform. You are being summoned to stillness. The battle that now rages around you is not yours. It belongs to the Lord. And heaven does not need your panic. It needs your posture. Let this be heard clearly and without confusion. Heaven fights for those who know how to stand still. The Spirit of the Lord is moving through dimensions, not looking for the loudest, not searching for the strongest, but seeking the still, the surrendered, the silent warriors who know that their restraint is reverence and their silence is strategy. You have entered a zone where noise becomes interference and stillness becomes warfare. This is not passivity. This is power cloaked in surrender. Every word you speak from this moment forward matters. You are walking through an invisible corridor where the walls are lined with angels. Their ears are tuned to the frequency of your heart, not your lips. The enemy hopes you will get agitated enough to speak against what heaven is about to release. But you must guard your tongue like it carries fire, because it does. Your voice is a gate, and what passes through it can either invite glory or provoke delay. You've been trained for this. a discipline, a patience, the agony of not knowing what's next. All of it has led to this divine instruction. Be still and let heaven finish what it started. This breakthrough you're stepping into no longer requires your struggle. The war is active, yes, but you've already passed the test that gave heaven permission to fight on your behalf. And now your greatest act of warfare is your willingness to stay silent, surrendered, and spiritually alert. Withdraw from the noise. Pull back from the conversations that tempt your frustration. Let go of the urge to explain yourself to people who don't have access to your destiny. You owe no defense in this hour, because the defender is moving. The one who sees in secret is preparing to reward you openly. But if you keep stepping in, you'll interrupt the miracle already in motion. Your silence is not weakness. It's a weapon. Declare this within yourself. I am shielded by divine timing. I am covered by holy delay. I am hidden until heaven says go. That is your protection. That is your oil. You are not late. You are being preserved. Let others scramble. Let others chase. You are not like them. Your steps are ordered. Your delays are divine. Your pauses are prophetic. Even now, as you listen to this word, angelic forces are surrounding your home, your mind, your decisions. There is movement in realms you cannot see. While you rest, heaven is rising. While you sit in stillness, heaven is securing your borders. While you choose peace over panic, angels are finishing battles that were never meant for your hands. Do not let your anxiety speak louder than your faith. Do not let your fear answer questions that only faith was meant to hold. You are not being punished. You are being shielded. And in this sacred moment of protection, trust becomes the greatest act of power. You have nothing to prove. You only have to believe. Rest. Not because you gave up, but because heaven took over. Type I am covered in the comments if you're walking in divine stillness. Blessing code 818 is now surrounding your silence with holy fire. You are not who you were before this moment. You are not the same soul that began this message, because something inside you has already shifted. The shaking that once frightened you has become the very rhythm of your transformation. The tears that once signified breaking have become the oil of your becoming. You are standing in the aftermath of divine collision, heaven intersecting with humanity, your weakness colliding with God's power, your surrender meeting His strength. And in that collision, something ancient and eternal has awakened within you. This is your moment of divine empowerment. Heaven didn't pause because of your pain, it paused because of your potential. When the Father looked upon the earth and saw your persistence, your quiet endurance when the world turned its face away, the heavens themselves leaned closer. You have survived storms that were designed to silence you. You have endured fires that were meant to consume you. Yet here you stand, not as a victim of circumstance, but as evidence of prophecy fulfilled. You are rising through the smoke of your trials with the scent of endurance and the mark of divine preservation. Every moment you thought was wasted has become a brick in the foundation of your power. There is a holy fire beginning to move through your being right now, not to destroy, but to distinguish you. It is burning away doubt, stripping off fear, and revealing the refined gold of your faith. You are becoming the very thing your warfare feared. Every lie that told you that you were too late, too weak, too flawed, is dissolving under the weight of divine truth. You are chosen. You are equipped. You are carrying heaven's frequency. The delay did not diminish you. It deepened you. The suffering did not shrink you. It stretched your spirit to contain more of God's power. Listen carefully. You are stepping into a season where your words will carry weight. When you speak, atmospheres will adjust. When you pray, winds will move. When you walk, the ground itself will honor your assignment. You are no longer walking as someone who hopes, you are walking as someone who knows. The oil upon your life has matured through the pressure you endured. You are becoming the voice you once needed to hear. The same fire that purified you now crowns you. And understand this, heaven has not empowered you to simply survive. It has empowered you to reign. This shift is not emotional, it is positional. You are being moved from begging to commanding, from waiting to walking, from endurance to authority. This is the divine reversal of identity, from fractured to fortified, from overlooked to ordained. The very pain that was once your prison has become your platform. Do not shrink back now. Do not retreat into the shadows of who you used to be. The trials that once defined you have now become your testimony. The enemy hoped you would be too weary to rise, but God has ignited a new fire that cannot be quenched. This flame will not fade. You are anointed not because you avoided breaking, but because you allowed the breaking to become birthing. You have passed through the waters, and you did not drown. You have walked through the flames, and you did not burn. You are the proof that the pause in heaven was worth it. Now you carry the signature of survival. Your spirit bears the mark of divine resilience. You are no longer responding to life. Life is now responding to you. You have been reintroduced to your own power, not the kind born of pride, but the kind born of presence. The power that listens, waits, discerns, and declares. So rise. Speak. Walk in this empowerment. The heavens have already endorsed your authority. The earth is waiting for your next step. Type "I am rising" in the comments if your spirit feels this transformation. Blessing code 515 is now igniting your empowerment. There are moments when the veil thins, but heaven does not just watch, it intervenes. October 26 was one of those moments. It was not just a date on the calendar. It was an appointment written in eternity. For years, heaven has watched you move through closed doors, endure cycles, and suffer without visible reason. But what you did not know was that all along, something was being written above you. A divine contract, a heavenly agreement. And on October 26th, that scroll was ready to be signed. That is why you felt the shift. That is why your soul has been vibrating with urgency. Because the heavens paused not just to observe, but to authorize. The moment had come to release what had been held back. The blessings that were delayed not by denial, but by divine negotiation. For what is being released now was too weighty to be handed to a version of you still untested, still unanchored. But now you've been proven. And heaven has no reason to hold it any longer. Let this truth fall into your spirit like thunder. Your name has been spoken in the chambers of the Most High. Not whispered, not merely written. Spoken, declared, echoed in the courts of glory. You are not forgotten. You are not ignored. You are not invisible in the spirit. You were being preserved until heaven's plan was finalized. And it has been finalized. October 26th with a spiritual threshold. A brutal moment. When divine timing collided with personal preparation. When the war in the spirit realm stopped. Not because the enemy surrendered, but because heaven overruled. What was being held in reserve is now being released. What was postponed is now being unlocked. What was tangled is now being untied. And this release is not singular. It is layered. Commotions, reintroductions, reconnections, resources, reignitions, all of them written into the scroll that was unsealed on your behalf. The angels did not just observe your warfare, they recorded it. And that record has been used as the proof of your readiness. This is why you are being moved now, not just into favor, but into fulfillment. You are standing at the edge of a sevenfold return. Zen, the number of divine provision. For every year you wandered, a harvest is coming. For every month you endured in silence, a sound of joy is being prepared. For every moment you carried the weight of unanswered prayers, the heavens are now answering in layers. Not one thing will be wasted. Not one tear will be overlooked. All of it hath been woven into the fabric of your elevation. But you must be prepared, because this release comes with responsibility. The scroll is sealed with fire, and fire does not rest on the unprepared. Heaven is not just giving you blessings, it is giving you territory, influence, assignment, voice, and with it comes visibility. And with visibility comes weight. You will need to steward what's coming with spiritual discernment. The applause will come, but it's not the applause you answer to. It's the voice that spoke your name in the stillness, the voice that whispered, now. October 26th with the unlocking of your next chapter. This is not the middle. This is not a delay. This is the moment heaven hath been waiting for. Type I received the scroll in the comments if your name was in the chambers. Blessing code 717 is now activating your release. When a scroll is opened in heaven, it is not just for you. It is for every soul your obedience will touch. Right now, this message is igniting hearts, confirming promises, and stirring sleeping destinies. And when you give, through super thanks, membership, with a PayPal link in the video description, you're not funding a video. You're fueling the release of prophetic fire across digital altars. The word says, give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. That's not a metaphor today. That is a personal decree over your act of obedience. The reason you feel stirred to sow is because heaven is moving in your spirit. Your giving becomes your prophetic response. Your sacrifice becomes a signal to heaven. I am ready to walk in what was written. And for those who respond in this moment, for those who feel this oil and say yes, I declare your gift is not leaving your hand without supernatural return. Type I am sowing into my scroll in the comments if your gift is your agreement. Blessing code 999 is now multiplying your seed in unseen places. This is your turning point. This is not just a revelation to receive. This is an instruction to obey. What heaven has released cannot linger in limbo. It must be activated. The scroll hath been opened. The seal has been broken. The oil hath been poured. Now, it is your response that determines what happens next. This is not the time to simply feel inspired. This is the time to move into divine agreement. Your yes is no longer symbolic. Your yes is now a key. Hear this. Destiny does not move for those who wait passively. Destiny shifts for those who walk boldly into alignment. This is the moment when spiritual inheritance demands a response. The angels have done their part. The warfare has cleared a path. The heavens have spoken. But now it is your voice that must echo back. I receive what heaven released. You must declare it. You must align with it. You must embody it. There is power in agreement, not emotional agreement, a temporary inspiration, but deep, inner spiritual consent that says, I will no longer shrink from what I was born to carry. The oil is waiting for your yes. The assignment is activated when your posture shifts from surviving to stewarding. God is not just calling you into blessing, He is calling you into responsibility. Your future is not being handed to you. It is being unlocked by you. So speak it. I say yes. Declare it in the atmosphere. Declare it in your heart. Declare it until every lying voice in your head is drowned out by the roar of your own obedience. Because when your yes leaves your mouth, heaven begins to mobilize around it. Angels are dispatched at the sound of surrendered faith. There is an orchestration of breakthrough that cannot begin until your agreement is heard. Do not let fear rob you now. You've come too far. You endured too much. You've already paid the price of preparation. Now it's time to receive the reward of alignment. Let every insecure thought be silenced. Let every past failure be dismissed. Heaven is not judging you by your history. Heaven is calling you by your design. And your design was written before the foundations of the world. Your destiny was crafted in the mind of God before your first breath. October 26 was not just your divine pause. It was your divine permission. Permission to rise. Permission to speak. Permission to occupy spaces you were once intimidated by. Permission to step into doors you thought were too high for your reach. Because this is no longer about what you deserve. It's about what God decided. Now is the moment to move from hearing to becoming. From waiting to walking. From hoping to hosting what heaven has already approved. You are not entering a new season. You are entering your set time. And timing matters. Delay will dilute what heaven intended to flow. Your yes must be immediate. Your obedience must be swift. Heaven waits for no man. But heaven does move for those who say yes when the scroll is open and the atmosphere is ready. So speak it now. Say it until your atmosphere begins to shake. I am in alignment. I am in position. I receive what is mine. The blessing is real. The timing is precise. And the gate will not stay open forever. Type ISAYYES to alignment in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 828 is now unlocking your set time. There is a moment when heaven moves without sound. When angels operate in silence. When scrolls are exchanged, destinies are written, and contracts are sealed, not with noise, but with glory. This is that moment. Right now, as your spirit says yes, as your soul aligns with what heaven has spoken, a silent exchange is taking place in realms you cannot see. This is not superstition. This is not metaphor. This is the invisible reality of the Spirit, where what was once withheld is now being released, under your name. Heaven is performing a transaction on your behalf. In the courts of God, the scroll that carried your process is being traded for a scroll that carries your promise. The warfare, the weeping, the unanswered prayers, they were not empty. They were not wasted. They were the currency of the Spirit, and they have purchased access to what is now being returned to you. Not in pieces, not in fragments, but in multiplied measure. You have cried in silence. You have warred in private. You have walked through seasons where nothing made sense, where obedience felt like isolation, where loyalty felt like punishment. And heaven recorded every moment. While others saw weakness, heaven saw faithfulness. While others measured your delay as failure, heaven measured it as fortification. And now, that record is being presented before the throne, and the judge has ruled in your favor. There are angels assigned to restoration, and they are now moving. With your name on their scrolls, with your evidence in their hands. They are not coming to negotiate. They are coming to recover, to retrieve what was stolen, to restore what was altered, to return what was lost. And not only is it being returned, it is being rewritten. Your story is being revised under divine authorship. What the enemy meant for shame is now being used as the ink of honor. Your scars are no longer symbols of survival. They are now scrolls of testimony. This is the moment when heaven does its deepest work, while you sleep, while you worship, while you rest in surrender. You do not have to manipulate this. You do not have to understand all the details. You only need to remain in agreement. Because while you are still, heaven is not. The spirit realm is alive with motion. Angels are moving. Pages are turning. Names are being announced. And yours is one of them. Every unanswered prayer was not forgotten. It was planted. Every tear you cried was not wasted. It was water for what is growing now. You are not being pitied. You are being rewarded. The exchange that is happening now in the unseen will soon manifest in the seen. Doors will open that you didn't knock on. Opportunities will chase you. Resources will flow toward your vision. Reversals will come where only resistance once lived. You are walking under the influence of spiritual recompense. You are surrounded by restoration angels. You are covered by the glory of a silent but sovereign move of God. The pressure you've been feeling, that was the transfer weight. The heavens were realigning your story. And now, you're not being pulled backward. You're being pushed forward by a wind that man cannot comprehend. What was stolen is now returning. What was delayed is now accelerated. What was denied is now approved. Type "I receive the exchange" in the comments if you feel the shift. Blessing code 646 is now marking your scroll with divine return. Let this be announced in the spirit. Justice has begun. The gavel has fallen in heaven's courts, and the sentence has been declared. The hands that plotted against you in secret will now see what God is doing with you in public. The mouths that whispered against you in hidden corners will now witness your elevation with speechless awe. For what was done in darkness is now being exposed to the light, and what was stolen in silence is now being returned with supernatural interest. Heaven is not merely comforting you, heaven is vindicating you. The cries that went unheard by men have now reached the throne of the Most High. The betrayals you could not explain, the injustices you could not defend yourself against, the strange warfare that moved through relationships, finances, and your peace, it was all noted. You didn't imagine it. You weren't overreacting. You were being spiritually ambushed. But what the enemy forgot was that the battle was recorded, and heaven never forgets the faithful. This is not just restoration. This is divine reversal. The kind of reversal that does not simply reset what was broken, but reorders it in your favor. God is not placing you back where you were before the battle. He is placing you ahead, elevated, multiplied. Your name has moved on heaven's docket. Your case has reached completion. And now, the enemy can no longer touch what hath been sealed in the fire of divine justice. Some of you will begin to see sudden breakthroughs in areas where doors were previously bolted shut. Unexpected apologies will surface. Opportunities will reopen. Honor will return where shame once lived. You will begin to see the hand of God expose, not for revenge, but for righteous reversal. And when the reversal begins, it will be like a flood. You won't have to chase after what was taken. It will be commanded to find you. Heaven is not negotiating with your adversaries. It is overruling them. God is bringing balance to what was lopsided. For too long, the scales were tilted against you, not because you lacked value, but because the enemy was terrified of what your purpose would unleash. But now, the time has come. The scales are being balanced. The tables are turning. What was once used against you will now be used to elevate you. What they intended as sabotage, heaven has now repurposed as strategy. This is the part the enemy didn't see coming. He counted on your silence to be weakness. He mistook your endurance for defeat. But what he failed to understand is that your pain was not a setback. it was evidence. And now, that evidence has become your weapon. The very places you were attacked are now the places you will carry authority. The very people who dismissed you will now watch as heaven builds around you what no hand of man can tear down. And here is the most powerful truth. You will not rise in private. God is lifting you in plain sight. Not to boast, not to flex, but so that every demonic assignment that came for your name will now be forced to witness your promotion. You are the evidence of justice fulfilled. You are the proof that the righteous are never forsaken. And this next move of God will carry your name, not written in sorrow, but engraved in glory. Prepare yourself, because justice is not quiet. Reversal is not subtle. When heaven moves, the earth must respond. And you, child of God, are walking into the season where every wrong is being made right. Type "Justice is mine" in the comments if you receive this reversal. Blessing code 4411 is now working in your favor. October 26. Heaven pause. The angels stood still. The throne room turned its attention to the earth. Not because of global crisis, not because of political power, not because of worldly chaos, but because of you. Yes, you. The one who endured in silence, who battled in secret, who obeyed without applause. The one whose name was mentioned in the chambers of glory. October 26th will never again be just another date. It will forever mark the moment when time and eternity intersected on your behalf. Heaven paused not just to speak, but to seal. This was not merely a word. It was a heavenly decree. And your response, your stillness, your surrender, your yes, has released more than you know. You are not leaving this message the same. You are leaving with divine confirmation and a mantle of fresh authority resting upon you. The 7-minute breakthrough wasn't just symbolic. It was strategic. It was enough time for heaven to release the fire, realign your atmosphere, and reignite your destiny. May peace now flood your spirit like a river. May the fire of the Holy One fill every empty space. May the roar of anxiety be replaced by the whisper of God's voice. I release this final blessing over you. You are covered, you are called, and you are commissioned. No longer bound by cycles, no longer haunted by delay, no longer identified by warfare. You are walking out of this encounter sealed by fire and marked for fulfillment. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not too late. The scroll has been signed. The reversal has been ordered. The breakthrough has begun. You are seen by heaven, sealed in purpose, and sent into this next chapter with divine backing. Let your heart receive this now. You are seen, sealed, and sent. Nothing can stop what heaven has started, and no lie can delay what God has decreed. No demon can destroy what the blood has already paid for. Rise. Rise in boldness. Rise in clarity. Rise in obedience. Your 7-minute breakthrough begins now. Type "I am sealed" in the comments if you know this word was for you. Blessing code 7777 is now governing your next chapter. This is more than a message. It's a movement. When heaven pauses like this, it's not just to deliver personal breakthrough, it's to release prophetic fire across the earth. And your support fuels that fire. Every time you give, through super thanks, membership, with the PayPal link in the video description, you become a vessel through which the word of God flows into the weary, the broken, and the chosen. The Lord says in Isaiah 55:11, "My word will not return to me void, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it." Your giving ensures that purpose continues, reaching more hearts, more homes, more souls waiting for the same fire you just received. This is your chance to take what you felt and multiply it. Heaven is watching for the givers, and to every giver, I declare, your seed will not return empty. It will echo into your future. It will prophesy over your household. It will break things that words alone cannot. Type ISOW into this move of God in the comments if your gift is your declaration. Blessing code 1441 is now releasing divine increase over you.